Oh, nope, that was on camera. All right. Hello, everyone. It's time once again for Alien RPG. I am, of course, Rendis, and I hope you are all having a wonderful day. I am having a wonderful day. We are here once again in the tunnel, and today I have grinding coffee. Delicious. I just brewed it up. Our wonderful sponsors of Grinding Coffee Co. today is bringing us the wonderful coffee that I will be drinking while we go through this game. Ah, yeah, that is delightful. Um, Today I'm drinking their Mexican chocolate, as I call it, the Latino Space Daddy. Um, Go ahead and sponsor me again, more. Sponsor me more, Grinding Coffee Co. For coming up with these great names for you guys for your coffee. That can be a new seasonal holiday blend. Some Latino Space Daddy. You don't have to give me royalties. Just credit Partywipegames, on every bag. But how is everybody doing? Be sure to filter in. You already are royalty. Thank you. Yes, king. He is king. Um, I hope everybody is having a great start of their week. I have to remind myself that it is, in fact, not the middle of the week, but a Monday for normal people because my own work schedule has changed. And now it is technically my Tuesday going into Wednesday and not a Monday. That's fun. That is fun. Um, we have other people that we can shout out, hype up, get you all excited for, such as Green Ronin Publishing, who always makes some great and wonderful quality games. Freely Publishing, who I will always hype up into oblivion because Freely Publishing does wonderful games, such as the wonderful Alien RPG that we are on right now, and my personal favorite, Tales from the Loop and Things from the Flood. Um, there is also the ever wonderful Imagining Games, which I'm going to take a peek at. Ah, they are the sponsors for Chew. That's right. Also, we have the wonderful Mitch, who helped put the Chew game together, and their Kickstarter had just recently wrapped up. There is also Chew that happens here on Fridays, where great people are playing in that one. So if you guys want to see some delicious role play, see what I did there with the food puns. Uh, hey, get those retweets out. Chew is funded. Fria Ligan. Yeah, I love their Swedish name. It always sounds so great and it rolls off the tongue. It's Fria Ligan. Not many people in yet. Get those retweets out. Everybody let them know. I'm going to do my own retweet here so that people know that we're live. I'll probably have to go back and hit all the spots that Pope isn't hitting because he is not here today. But yeah, check us out. Tell your friends. Get those retweets out. Because our players are going to need all the help they can get. They do not realize what horrors are in store for them. I mean, you all don't know what horrors are in store for them either, but it's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. Last time we left off, there definitely wasn't bad things happening with a cult that they, chose not to pay attention to. So I'm sure nothing awful is going to come about from that. But hi, chat. How are you? Wait, what? Yeah, right. It's fine. Don't even worry about it. It's fine. Just just assume that everything's going to be great. I mean, it's not like PH had signed you all away to pirates, or there's a murder happening on the colony, and just questions that could lead to answers that aren't getting answered. It's fine. It's about the journey and the survival, and until it's time to wipe parties. Yeah, exactly. Like, you should have known what you signed up for with the name. I'm here to wipe parties. It's the inevitable. I did it in the first episode, so answers are Gerald's job. Is it though? It's his job to provide answers, not to find answers. It. However, it is Juniper's job to find answers. They are a scientist. Um, you know, they're technically a botanist or whatever the scientific research side of plants are, but that still answers nonetheless. Oh, what if we do plant-based xenomorphs? Would they just be mushrooms? No, that's a totally different subspecies. Botanist, all of the Martian. We could have really gone deeper and had Juniper be the type of scientist that studies mushrooms, and then we could have just let it into fungal infections for the black goo and the xenomorphs, and just really let it out of control. That would have been hilarious. But nonetheless, she did find a fun plant that people promptly stuck their faces into. Yeah, exactly. Just clicker xenomorphs. It would have been hilarious. Um, I'll give it, another minute or so before I jump out of the tunnel. Hopefully, all my players have gathered. We will be down one tonight. Unfortunately, our dear Gerald will be handling something, or at least I'll handle Gerald for a few moments and then promptly sweep him under the rug so that the others can run wild and figure something out. Plus, we have another fun surprise for everyone, so just stay tuned for that. All right. I'm going to go ahead and hop out. This will be the last me reminder of, hey, get those retweets out. I see we're at only 5, so people are slacking. Not really. I love you all. Keep the retweets coming. Help these people out. But we will be back here shortly for the start of Paradisio Lost.
Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a place made just for you. We at Wayland-Yutani have done just that. Come explore our luxurious Earth-like biomes using state-of-the-art technology developed by Wayland Corporation. We have created perfection. Breathe air fresher than anything you have ever experienced. Swim in our crystal clear waters and experience what the finest genetic engineering has created by taking a simple stroll through a park. What are you waiting for? Come to Paradisio now and experience life.
Awesome. What a great way to start. Hello, everyone. Just in time with a raid from Dire Bear GM. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. This is Alien RPG Paradisio Lost. I am Ridus of Partywipegames. These are my wonderful players. They don't know what horrors are in store for them. Um, I've already done all of the nitty gritty before jumping over here. So why don't we have a moment to introduce all of our wonderful players? And hey, I promised a surprise. Look, we have a new person. Cameras. There we go. New person. It's Pope. Pope is a new player. They have not eaten and assumed direct control of PaladinHulk. PaladinHulk, unfortunately, is not here tonight, but Pope will be here as a new player. So we got to fill him into the horrors, and he mostly signed away rights to do awful things to him, such as chest bursters and other end bursters that we hinted at earlier in the season. But why don't we start looking at this screen here, and we'll just go like we always do with ArchivalDustBun first. Yeah.
Hey, that's me. I don't know what horrors you're talking about. The pamphlet just said Paradise. But yeah, I'm Anna, aka ArchivalDustBunny. Most places on the internet, queer and trans advocate, museum worker, and TTRPG streamer, and I play Sarah, the pilot, who has not crashed the ship yet. I feel like that's very important. That's a big accomplishment with how Roll20 has been treating me.
You did safely land it last time.
Yes, when it was being shot down. I am proud of that. Yeah, that's all I got.
Hey everybody, Pope here. Popeworldbuild on Twitter, Popeworldbuild on Twitch. I lurk in all your streams, and maybe screams. We'll see. It's great to be here with this amazing cast, getting to play aliens, and finally, Rindis, our paths have crossed.
Finally.
So I am looking forward to the delightful and horrific ways that you will murder us. That being said, I get to play Bob.
Sound effect. Sorry.
We just go with the sounds, the soothing sounds of horror, and delight. I get to play Bob. Bob's a roughneck. Bob is here to help. Bob is here to work. Just trying to make sure that Paradisio is everything that they say in the brochure and more. We'll see about the and more part.
Mitch.
Hello. Yeah, hi, I'm Mitch. Also, you can find me on Twitter at Mitchsbustillos. Other than just finishing up the latest Kickstarter, which is Chew, you can find me here at Weave the Tale or Penny for a Tale. And of course, you can find me pretty soon at PAX Unplugged, which is a couple of weeks.
And last but certainly never least.
Hi, I am Jenny. I play Rosalinda. I always forget what to say right here, so this will be fun.
Excellent. I think that's good enough. All right. So I'll go ahead and take it away. Last time we left off, because it's been a while, we had my vacation and then some technical difficulties. So I will go ahead and give just a bit of a recap on what had happened. Last episode, you all had been informed that there was a murder that had happened at the science facility. The chief scientist was found dead shortly after you all had returned from your mission to collect samples for the science facility. There was a surprising lack of concern for the sudden death of such a high-ranking Weyland-Yutani official, but most of you deemed it was above your pay grade and not something you were directly involved in, so there was no reason for you to truly look in further after the marshal had cleared you all of any wrongdoing. Our dear psychologist Juniper had scheduled a wellness check and a unfortunate informing of the loss of life of a wonderful colonist to his late husband and child, who neither of which were immediately traumatized and informed that they were expected back into work the following day after the allotted bereavement time that is given by the Corporation of Weyland-Yutani. Excuse me, I'm just congested all of a sudden. From there, you all had spent the better part of the evening decompressing from the catastrophic events. There was a lot of drinking involved, a lot of flirting involved, and one of you ended up getting quite lucky at the bar However, it did result in a lot of water use and showing up late for work, which resulted in some scolding from dear Gerald, who also had a nice tender moment with their wife, the colonist manager, before she had headed off into doing some more work. From there, you all had signed on to help the security force investigate the rumors that there were space pirates that had landed somewhere in the jungle of Paradisio. Sarah, of course, being the pilot, was the one who was designated to fly them out, and you all came along to assist in any way you could, as well as having to make another delivery elsewhere, such as bringing Rosalinda back to the science facility. So dropping the security force was on the way, which resulted in being shot down, successfully landed, fought your way through the small skirmish with the pirates. Some quick negotiations from Gerald had resulted in the Dread Pirate being shot by his own crewmen, and then he negotiated some cutthroat corporation negotiating to not only have the pirates turn over the security force for a large sum of money, but to also work out a off the books deal to have the pirates available for Gerald's call when next needed, or maybe to help smuggle some goods into the colony. From there, you all had gone back to the science facility. You found out that Vanderstoop had assumed command of the science facility for the time being, as getting a new chief scientist would take a number of months and or years to arrive through space. So she is heading up all of the lead projects right now. And Juniper, I keep saying Juniper, Rosalinda. Rosalinda had been assigned to stay with the group. And it's been some time, so forgive me, I'm going to ask you all, did we conclude at the science facility, or did you all fly back?
We stopped at a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
We stopped at an off-screen cliffhanger. Was it opening the door to the security room? I feel like that was what it was. It's a good thing PH isn't here today. Awesome. Okay. Because he was the one who was going to get shown what was inside. Him and Juniper. That's right. I do remember that. The way grinding coffee delicious coffee brings back the memories. For him. Okay. So we're going to pick up there. Then I will assume direct control of Gerald. Vanderstoop has unlocked the main doors for Gerald and Juniper, as they are the two with the top secret clearance that could technically enter this facility. And when the doors open, there's a small passageway, a brief decontamination through some heavy sprays and UV lights and some quick vacuuming and suction of air before it opens to another side. On the opposite side, you enter into a large facility where it is a mess of a space. It looks like the late scientist had been living inside of this research facility, as well as conducting his research here. There are a number of large vat-like tubes and operation tables that have not seen proper sanitation or cleaning, as there are various dried blood, darker viscous lumps of strange substances that can't be immediately identified with a quick cursory glance. But Vanderstoop seems unfazed by the sight of a lot of it. The tanks that are not empty have this thick greenish yellow liquid with half-formed or twisted lumpy masses of organic flesh that seems to be starting to take shapes that you can't quite recognize or identify. And then as she walks with the two of you, she says, please understand the very sensitive nature of the work the late scientist Svensson had been doing. He had been in charge of researching adaptation of a special project for Weyland-Yutani, um, very secretive. Now that he is dead and there are investigations, I feel that the two of you, the two most senior officials for Weyland-Yutani, besides your wife, of course, and she gestures to Gerald, who just nods his agreement, that you two are brought in and informed of what's going on, given that you were present on scene, at least at the time of the murder, albeit cleared of any assumptions of wrongdoing. And she finally stops in front of one vat where there is a formed shape that resembles something closer to a human. Its body seems more twisted in that kind of Geiger sense, where there are a few unnatural growths of the fingers, or limbs and bones are twisted in a way that doesn't seem normal or natural. And she says, aside from the colonists who have been regularly being shipped here to Paradisio, there is a nearby prison planet where life sentenced prisoners can expedite their time by volunteering for scientific research. Weyland-Yutani, of course, through loopholes, have found a way to reduce their sentence indefinitely by having them provide a necessary sacrifice. They no longer have to live on the prison colony, but their bodies are donated to science. And she gestures to the tube and she says, most do not survive. And it is believed that Svensson was working on hybridizing humanity with a, until recently, unknown species. Why? Because they can.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
And she kind of looks through a couple files and says, I need to understand that the two of you will commit to maintaining the secrecy of this science facility. It's not that you are now complicit in what is going on. You do, of course, have the ability to become a whistleblower, but you are also aware of the heavy penalties and reprimands that will come from any corporate espionage or bringing patented trade secrets of the company to light to the public.
I mean, I'm not saying anything. I'm 100% for the company, always.
Yeah. And not to play his character, but I feel that Gerald would at least nod silently, and Pope can, of course, personally unpack and decide how he wants to feel when he comes back next week. But for now, he remains silent and stoic in his feelings for it. And she says, would you like to see further into the facility?
Yes.
Wonderful. And so she gathers up a few more documents, and there's another door that she leads you through, and she says, Dr. Svensson had recently been shipped a substance that he had been working on, seeing how it reacts to cellular growth and integration with not only human cells, but other creatures that exist naturally on this planet or that have been imported from Earth or other colonies, such as the samples that we had asked you to get. Personally, I am rather disappointed I could not see the effects of this substance with the giant sloths we had asked you to retrieve, but I'm sure there's time for that another day. And she opens up one of these files and she shows you a couple pictures of recently failed experiments. There's attempts to hybridize with a dog. There are attempts to hybridize with bats, and there are a few other creatures that all have just like a red inked failed stamped across them. And she says, he seemed particularly keen on trying to get these creatures to fly. I'm not sure why his fascination with wings were as they are, but
Yeah.
yeah, he tried really hard to graft wings onto these things, and I can't explain it, but it wasn't working, and maybe that's for the best. Um,
I
there
think
is
so.
there is the decision to make as well of one final subject, as I will be taking over the experiments, but I feel that I can improve upon his work if I start fresh. So I just want the opinion of the two of you of what to do with the specimen that's here now.
That weird thing you have back there. I mean, it
No,
sounds.
no, not that one. That one has long since expired. I just haven't had a chance to clean it out. There is one more, not too far ahead, but I need to assess if we should terminate the experiment or leave it be for now and see if anything comes of it.
All right, let's look at it.
Okay. And it's just around a little corner in another secure off area, but there is a isolated tube where there is a prisoner, or at least what's left of a prisoner, that is currently floating inside of this tube. And what you see as the camera pans up over this naked floating body is the classic face hugger xenomorph is currently wrapped around uh, a shaved headed male, and they have the body of it enclosed around their nose and mouth, and the tail is coiled around the neck. And she says it's very fascinating to see just how these two species interact, humans and this alien creature. Um, we have a number of eggs where these entities emerge from when subjected to movement and heat, and we were able to sedate and put them into the tube, and there is going to be a period of incubation that we know of, before the new species will emerge from within. There's approximately 6 hours before estimated emergence is, and the doctor had been working on enhancing the cells of the creature that had grafted itself onto the subject's face before inseminating them. So we don't truly know what's going to emerge.
Well, this, I mean, good for the company. This looks like it will be amazing for it. Awesome. If in terms of like if we should keep it or not, I say keep it. It's like it's useful.
So you. Okay. Um, Gerald asks basically a question that I feel would be in line with what the bottom line cost of keeping the subject alive versus how much it would cost to terminate it for the company. And there's a brief discussion between the two of them on basically that it's a little more cost effective to keep the experiment running than to flush it and start, because this is the most intact specimen that you currently have. As that conversation continues, she does, however, point out if we were to terminate the experiment, I do have a number of candidates within the colony lined up that could be a sizable replacement if you're okay with somebody going missing. Um, in a population of 200, somebody going missing is a little more noticeable, but we don't have any estimated prison shipments coming in soon. So progress on the project would be halted if we terminated unless we had a viable replacement.
Ooh, I'm definitely that person who that family who lost their husband and father.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting them. I'm like, look, they're going to be dealing with a lot of stuff. I think the productivity is going to go down. The only way for them to remain profitable is, I think, through this method. So I wholeheartedly recommend them for
the father and the child.
Yes.
Okay. I will remind you that the father is a registered engineer. Is that would Juniper suggest losing somebody who is capable of providing productivity to the colony?
I just think that, I think that after losing their loved one, they're just not going to be as useful. So it's unfortunate, but it's how it goes.
So Vanderstoop says, well, morally, I have an objection to subjecting a child to experimentation. We can, however, arrange for an accident to happen to the father.
Okay.
I may be a number of things, a geneticist, a genius, a corporate member of Weyland-Yutani, but I do have some standards, and child experimentation is where I draw my line. Now, if we wanted to say...
Yeah, it's just a very interesting... it's a very interesting line to have.
It is, but I feel that most people have a line, and it's important in my sort of field of study to have a line that you do not cross. And I personally feel that if I were to cross a line and become a monster, experimenting on children would be where it is. Now, depriving that child of their father again, and she kind of like looks off into the distance and then just kind of shrugs it off. I'm not so shook up about that, but I won't do any harm to children physically.
Yeah, well, I guess
you're
just
responsible
realize
for maintaining their mental sanity.
Yeah, in the eyes of society, you are a monster, as am I. So let's not hold any lies to ourselves. I believe it's important for our mental health if we don't lie to ourselves. So understand, no matter what or how you feel about yourself, you are a monster.
Very well. So we'll go ahead and put the father down then.
Excellent. All right.
I think with that, Gerald kind of thinks on it for a moment. He has some obvious objections to the idea of subjecting the child as well, in that wonderfully eloquent way that Gerald articulates his points and arguments on, cost, and uh, when he weighs the options of replacing them with a colonist, and you bring up the point that they might lose productivity, he says, well, I suppose as long as nobody knows. And again, I'm not going to take away PaladinHulk's agency on this. I'm just kind of surmising what may or may not be said, and I will say that he totally agrees, but we'll leave the decision to Juniper for now. And he says, I'll leave the decision to you, Juniper. And so, with Juniper signing off on terminating the experiment, um, Dr. Vanderstoop walks back to the tank, and there's a control panel where she pushes a series of buttons, and the light that is illuminating this experiment changes from like a soft whitish yellow to red, and you just see the goo start to bubble as it heats up, and the experiment is terminated in just this superheated blender slurry that just obliterates the contents inside before it's flushed down this tube and ejected into this slurry that definitely is not ejected out into the jungle water system proper, like, a good public corporation or a evil corporation would. Just go ahead and shoot that out. But the experiment is dumped, and she says, can I trust you to secure the new test subject for me?
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Yeah, of course.
Well, if that is all, I don't have anything else for you. But she does take the time to kind of go over everything else that is being done here in the laboratory, so that the two of you are up to speed on what everybody's experimenting on, what work is done. Basically, here's what we were doing before the murder, so that, you as the people in charge know that we are still being productive despite losing somebody. And so she says, rest assured, we will have the project back on track as soon as a new test subject is brought in.
It all sounds perfect. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so we cut the camera to Sarah and Rosalinda, who had been left waiting in the more common areas of this science facility. What did the two of you get up to in the interim that they were gone?
I stayed in the ship with.
You stayed in the ship. Okay.
Yes.
So, Rosalinda, this is a chance for you to wander off alone and get into trouble. You have your new giant exotic plant that Gerald had reacted with slight allergies to. And the pollen seemed to not have any adverse effects on anyone yet, but you were determined to have a couple people stick their faces in it last time we were here. What do you get up to for the time being?
I think I'll gather my stuff. And is there any way I could snoop into a computer or something?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure I would, all under the, guise of science or the science.
Yeah. What are you hoping to find when you get onto the computer?
Anything about because she didn't get very much information, so she's trying to figure out what is going on at the lab.
Certainly, you want to dig a little deeper and find out what's going on. So your security clearance allows you to access a certain number of files, but as stated, you don't have the highest top secret clearance. But given your background, that's not really an issue for someone like you. So you should be able to get around this. Could you give me a Comtech roll, please?
Yes. What did I get?
Well, that is one success, which I do believe overrides that panic roll, right? Or is it the other way? I hate being away for weeks on end because my brain just dumps all of the information.
Well, for some reason, I have
See.
3 stress. Am I supposed to have 3 stress?
You definitely had the stress from last time. I don't think you did anything to defrag
Okay.
the. So
I don't
let me
remember.
just
I'm
find.
sorry.
Yeah, let me find
Well,
the.
yeah, what was the question?
Um, does the panic roll override the success, or does the success override the panic? I'm trying to remember which way it
Panic
works.
roll overtakes. So if you roll the
Okay,
1 on one of your stress die,
that's
it's
gonna
kind of up to
negate
you
the
on
success.
if, yeah, on if she can still have a success
This
with that. But yeah, so
okay. Why don't you go ahead and give me a panic roll? Because you're not really in a weird situation where something bad can truly happen, but we'll kind of adapt based on what the result is, which is an 8. Well, you start to tremble uncontrollably. Oh, skills using agility. Okay, I feel that that is probably acceptable. So what it is tremble. You start to tremble uncontrollably. All skill rolls using agility suffer a -2 until your panic stops. The way this is reflected, I'm not going to take away your success. Instead, this is very much the scene of a high stakes, careful, stealthy hacking into a computer in a system you have no business being in. You go through some backdoor logs given your less than savory past, and you find that Wayland Yutani's IT is surprisingly easy to navigate around, because corporate code monkeys, they probably aren't paid to care enough. They just have to keep everything running. um, and so when you start to open up these files, the worry that somebody is going to catch you is what's making you feel so nervous and jittery, and you're constantly looking over your shoulder to make sure that nobody's watching. Is the security camera in the corner aware of what you're doing? There's just this feeling of anxiety as you're pulling up these files that you shouldn't be looking at, and the camera kind of splits now as you're looking through these files. It's showing the scene that had just happened. You're looking over data and information of these experiments as Vanderstoop was showing Juniper and Gerald, certain experiments. And so you have this chance to scroll over and look at certain things. And basically, as you kind of fast read through all of this information, you come across a file that you can't access, but it's just called Project Blackout. And the last instances of what you had found basically coincides with what they were told, that the colony has been receiving regular shipments on basically like a 6-month interval of anywhere from 5 to 10 prisoners to be dropped off at the science facility. And what you've been able to notice through this files and looking through is that there is nearly 100% mortality rate of the people who are sent here. Nobody who's been sent to the science facility has left alive. All the prisoners die, and a lot of them have signed away their lives for these experimentations, in the hopes of having their sentences reduced through some legalese and jargon.
Is there a list of the prisoners?
Yes, there would be. It is quite
I looked.
extensive.
Oh, okay. I was going to look to see if anybody I knew was on the list.
Yeah. Give me another contact roll because I think this just takes up a good bit of time and you're going to continue to dig deeper.
Yes, because I don't know when to stop. Apparently.
It's fine. This is how we find out information. All right.
2
So that's
successes.
2 successes. So let's see if you gain anything from Comtech with a second one. Comtech. So with Comtech extra successes, you have stunts for gaining a +1 modification for later skill rolls related to this one. You do not need to roll to overcome the exact same challenge in the future. Helpful. You can do it quickly in half the time that it would normally take. You get new or unexpected information. My choice. You hide your tracks, or you can show off. So there's a couple of great options here with
Oh my
Comtech.
goodness. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
I,
about
I
new
have
information?
okay.
Oh, what was
I was gonna say there's a couple here that I would pick, but there's also a couple of juicy choices. So new information. Um, you look through, and you do see a couple of names that you recognize. These are, long forgotten acquaintances that kind of ran in the same circles. You're mostly like, oh, Johnny got locked up. That sucks. Oh no, Johnny got locked up and they were sent here. Whoops.
yeah.
That sort of thing. Nobody that's directly personal to you so that you feel the pangs of their sudden surprise death. You are relieved to see that your sister's name is not on this list for any reason because she is safely here in the colony, and Mitch has not begun abducting citizens yet for any nefarious experiments.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Um, but as you dig up this new and unexpected information, you do see that there is a file that looks like it had been hidden, and it's an incident report of a prisoner escape. And so, opening that file and reading further, you see that there was a prisoner who had been experimented on in the initial onsets of the experiment, mostly being injected with a substance that had broken out of containment and escaped into the jungle. And the security team basically had said that the subject was dead, but of course they didn't produce a body. So Svensson had deemed it suspicious, but wrote it off that the individual was gone. And the individual was named. Why are my notes so terrible? The individual was listed as Jack, and they said that the individual, as I said, was injected with a number of substances in preparation to be taken into the new project. I feel like I had wrote down Jack's full name, but I do not see it here on my notes.
Well, she will
Skellington.
take notes or Jack's. We'll take notes about Jack Skellington. Or whatever
Anna, did
his
I
name is.
give Jack a full name, or was it just Jack at this point?
Oh, do you mean Charlie, my buddy?
No, not Charlie. The out of character Jack was the vent kid.
Oh, I thought his name was Charlie. Wait, what do I have written down?
What do we have written
All
down?
these kids look alike.
Was it
really
Charlie?
do. Charlie, yeah.
Oh well, did not Jack
Yes, Charlie.
Charlie? Does Charlie have a full
Oh
name?
no. No, I have Charlie. Wait, no. Charlie did have a full name. I don't know it, but it was Charlie McDaniels because
Charlie McDaniels. That's
Sergeant-
right.
I knew it as the sergeant.
Oh, yeah.
or whatever rank I was. I knew it as the Marine in episode 1.
Oh, no, not the Marine. Not the Marine. The Marine hasn't landed yet.
No, I know. I knew who it was.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, right.
Because he was one of our targets.
Yes, it was patient 0 that you needed to extract. Okay, thank you. Charlie McDaniels, I'm going to do my due diligence and write this down. Charlie McDaniels. Charlie, subject 0. And I can type today. All right, Charlie McDaniels, subject 0. Okay.
Okay, well, Rosalinda is taking notes on this, or like somehow making so she has this information.
Yeah. There is probably the Aliens universe equivalent of zip drives if you want to just download it to take for your own records, or of course you have a Weyland-Yutani issued ballpoint pen and notepad on the desk that you can also do.
Oh no, it's evil.
I know.
I'm going to put it on the zip drive and then write the zip drive in my pot.
Okay.
The pen that I'm always carrying with me for now. I'll move it later.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. You are sweating as you try and download this information because, of course, the alien world equivalent of a computer and download speeds and things are not quite what we have. So it's a very slow loading bar, and you can feel the time eke by slowly. And as it nears like 98%, the doors to the top secret room opens, and you hear it open, and you hear Juniper, Vanderstoop, and Gerald walking out having this hushed conversation as you're finally finishing up. And before they notice you at the computer, it hits 100%, and you're able to pull the flash drive and pocket it without being noticed. Juniper, your business here is finished. And the decision to have Rosalinda stay at the colony to do botany work was decided last session. So you should probably round them up and get back to the ship.
Yeah, just come back and be like, all right, we're done here. Let's head out. Come on.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, Rosalinda, could you let Sarah know and just this was a very productive day.
I'll, like, she's kind of still a little nervous, so it takes her a second, but she does use her comm to contact Sarah.
Okay. Sarah, there is an incoming call for you as you and Richard are sitting in the cockpit. Richard is kind of doing some patchwork maintenance on the damaged VTOL inside the main panels, but your ship is still in relative working order, considering that it had taken an RPG shot just hours ago.
A full RPG? Are we talking about like as thick as Yhander, or like Exalted, or World of Darkness?
No,
the Apocalypse?
No, this was
to remind everyone. This was after I dodged like 3 missiles. So.
Yeah, and she did dodge this. Yeah, exactly. You were a stationary target when it was hit this time. So, and no, to answer your question, Mitch, this is a Blaze in the Dark RPG, so it's real chunky.
Oh wait, the Blaze in the Dark is small. What is this? That's a small RPG.
Fine. It's Warhammer Fantasy. Just a lot of bloat.
Oh my god, too big. Way too big.
You want to be a rat catcher? You could be a rat catcher.
Yay, dreams do come true.
Yep. So the call comes in, and Rosalinda, you have a direct line to Sarah now.
Um, Sarah, it's Juniper says we're heading out. It's time to head out.
Okay. The ship's ready.
I'm coming with.
I'm
Okay.
just waiting on you.
And Juniper, I will let you know that I let Sarah know we're ready to go. The ship's waiting.
And I'll stick my head out of the cockpit and look at what's remaining of the security force. They're coming back out. We're about to be back in the air.
The security force nods. There is a brief moment of Iza's eyes lingering with yours before Marshal Bravestar says, "Good. The sooner we get everyone back into the medical facilities, the better." And even though you're inside, his hair just blows majestically through a non-existent wind.
It's probably a second in command blowing on his hair.
Yeah. Somebody is behind him holding a fan.
Yeah, I try to give Isa a comforting look as best I can, if that can be communicated that way. And then I'll get back in the cockpit and make sure we're ready
Fire
to take
up
off.
the ship. All right. So you guys, we just kind of fast track going back through the security and decontamination for you all to make it back to the ship. And so please give me a pilot roll, Sarah, and we will get you up in the air.
And I mentioned last session, part of the reason I was staying in the ship was to decompress a bit, to get rid of all of that stress I had.
Because you didn't want one-on-one time with me.
I mean,
my girlfriend's in the ship. Why would I want one-on-one time with you?
I'm a professional, okay?
Yeah.
Hey, I actually had a success.
Wow. All right. We are off to a good start today. So yeah, you're able to get the ship off the ground with no problem. And so in the interim of the flight back, we're going to go ahead and give Pope some attention now because he's been waiting so patiently. It's fine. Let's get you in here. So the camera cuts back to Paradisio Prime. It's a beautiful capital in quotes, as it is the only real colony that is established so far. There are hab blocks for the citizens, roughly 200 people. 190 something now, since a few of the security officers were killed, and of course, dear James, the colonist, whose widowed husband and child are still grieving, but at work. There are small pathways and attempts at gardening and a wonderful perimeter wall that keeps the encroaching dangers of the jungle from inflicting any real harm. But our dear Bob is a roughneck. And what profession would you rank Bob into as a job here on the colony?
The thing is, but with the colony already being built, he's not much of a builder. He is more of a maintenance worker. This is very much where, like, okay, so there's something scuttling in the air fence in Hab A. Great, I guess I get to climb in there and find out what's going on.
Delightful! Great.
He
that's
is
a great
more of
bottom.
like your janitor, but also has qualifications for using heavy machinery. Again, he's sort of like a jack of all trades, handyman. Yeah.
Excellent. So we see Bob going through a normal day, and this is kind of a rewind as well, as the VTOL had taken off shortly beforehand to go on to this mission that they will be returning from. But you go about your daily routine. There are several work orders of small maintenance here, repairs there. And as you're going about, you see that there's a request for vent maintenance in Hab Block C, which seems to be there have been a couple of reports of movement and scratching in the vents. And so somebody needs to see if there is a vermin infestation within these vents that and if so, find the root of where the vermin is coming from and possibly seal up any breaches within the colony.
So, yep, we're getting to work. It's going to probably start with doing a perimeter check to make sure that, like, okay, last thing you want is something from outside having flown in here, eaten through something, and now is scurrying around in the vents and walls. So it's this slow, steady, janitorial maintenance work of just, okay, looks like, I'm guessing all the seals are in check. Somebody broke containment.
Mhm.
Oh, hell.
Yeah. And give me just we'll say a heavy machinery roll just to kind of summarize the efforts of going through and checking first the outside and then working your way in with one success. All right. So starting from the outside and working in, you see that there's actually no signs of breach from the outer perimeter. Nothing is giving any indication that a creature from the jungle has made its way in. And that could easily narrow down what it might be. A annoyingly common thing is that just like in the old days, rats and vermin can sneak onto starships just like they had for sailing ships. And so rats are still fairly common, on new colony worlds. So it's very likely that rats might have just built a nest into the vents and are living there. And so as you start going through, you start to notice that there are a couple of places where the vent screws are not just loose, but they're situated in such a way that they are not screwed back in, but they are aligned with the grate and the nails are slid in so that they fit, and so that unless you bumped it or pushed it out of the way, it would flush perfectly and not give any indication that something had happened. And these are like the vents that are up against the wall down by the floor. So it's something that something could easily crawl into and out of. But you count probably about 4 as you're going through and checking. But if you've stopped in front of one of these vents, and it is about person size that you could crawl into if you really wanted to, but this one would lead to the hangar.
Sure. Gotta get to the bottom of this, otherwise I'm gonna have my head shoot off, and I've got better things to do. And just pulls the vent off, closes the vent, and we're having a Die Hard moment. It's just like, yeah, come out.
Yeah. And there is just a quick announcement made across Paradisio Prime that maintenance will be in place. Please do not report any noise disturbances that you hear, because unlike in Die Hard or any other movie where they show people trying to infiltrate through air vents, it's not quiet. It's very noisy and everybody can hear the slow thump of each limb trying to crawl its way through. And as you fit and squeeze, just give me a mobility roll to see just how well you're able to navigate through here. Okay.
Nope.
It's not a failure in that you get stuck or anything. It's more that this is a slow and arduous attempt to crawl through these vents. You know the direction, you have a light. It's just that it's tight and it's cramped, and all of it makes for a classic horror situation where you can only see what's in front of you. You can't see what's behind you as you're moving. And you are, of course, entitled to push if you want to. You can take a stress and push. All right. And so as you're navigating through this vent, there is movement up ahead at a T intersection. Something in the shadows flits across. It's large, dog sized, fast, and there is the quick skittering scratch of something across the metal, but it darts past you just fast enough to notice it.
I think it's going to be that like classic struggle to get to the comm and just go, control, this is maintenance. Somebody in Hab C has adopted a pet and it's loose in the vents.
This is Control. I reach Bob. Do you have anything to lure the pet to you? We should probably get it out of the vents.
No, I was expecting like rats, possibly whatever passes for a pigeon on this planet. I was not expecting something dog-like and very fast.
Oh, that's quite a thing to run across into a tight vent. Well, can you lead it somewhere and corner it maybe?
I'll definitely make an attempt. May want to have folks that are currently in Hab C clear out of Hab C, just in case somebody brought something local and adopted it. Over.
Copy that. We'll make the announcement. And so the announcement is made, and there is just a brief attention. Hab Block C needs to be evacuated for the next 30 minutes. Please drop what you are doing and vacate your domiciles. Failure to do so will be a deduction of stocks and shares. And after, a minute or so, it says, all right, you should be clear shortly.
Heading to the hangar. Yeah.
And there's just the soft thump, thump, thump as you start crawling. And I'm assuming you're going in the direction that it had skittered.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so Bob continues to crawl through this passageway. The thumps a little quieter, maybe in the hopes of catching up to this creature. And every so often, there is still that skittering sound just up ahead, just out of the reach of the flashlight that shines your path. And before long, the sound stops, and you're at another intersection. It's a four-way cross, left, right, straight ahead. And please give me an observation roll. 2 successes. With a extra stunt, you have the option of, is it coming for me? Are there more of them close by? How do I get past, in, or away? I love these options. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Is it coming for me?
Yeah. So you pause and you listen at the sound of this intersection. And when the creature had been directly ahead of you, it was easy to follow. But you look and you listen in each direction, and you hear fast skittering coming from your right, and you have just enough time to look as this creature that is the hybrid of a large wrinkly dog and a hissing cockroach, complete with the compound eyes and the mandible pincers of a cockroach, but the shaggy, drooping jowls of this dog, comes bounding towards you on several pawed legs, and its little thorax wings are fluttering as it comes screech barking towards you.
Oh, it thinks you're its mommy.
It is coming quickly at you.
I do not find this cute. I find it rather threatening. And to my memory, there is nothing on the transport logs or even in the local flora and fauna guidebook that indicates this is normal. So it's that struggle with the tool belt, and we're pulling the cutting torch.
Okay.
Not our pet pal.
Yeah. You take the tool out, and I feel like I should ask instead of assuming that we are okay. Is there any nose on animals? Like, I don't want to cross any lines of if the pet pal suffers an accident. Yeah, when did this become Dead Space? Like, if the pet pal accidentally gets killed, like, is there any issues with this? Does anybody have a hard no? I'm assuming that
all agree. Yeah, it's an abomination. In every eye, I don't.
I mean, I know Anna became really attached to it, so I just want to be certain.
Yeah,
it's
maybe
also a
for
stretch to consider it an animal. I don't know.
It's two animals, technically.
I am fine with Skitters McJowls escaping.
Yeah,
that's what everyone wants.
And that was where I was going to lead it. I wanted to clear it with everybody before we led into, taking an action against the animal. So it sounds like we're good.
I am also okay with it, like, laying eggs in Bob's head or something like that. Like, if we want, like, that's okay. Like,
it's possible.
Then you guys both be parents.
Yeah.
I'm less fine with sharing a litter with Skitters McJowls.
Yeah. There's enough creatures in this game that will make you all parents. We don't need Skitters McJowls to do it too. Bob with the cutting torch. If you want to attack it, ranged combat. If you want to spook it, please give me a manipulation. Or I suppose command could work too.
Not much difference. We're going to go because it hasn't gotten close, and unfortunately, a cutting tool is not a ranged weapon; it is a close combat weapon. So we're going to go with yeah. So, do you want me to give close combat, or would you rather manipulation? Because I don't think I can command Jack.
I'm good with whatever. If you want to do close combat to give it just like a quick glove tap and scare it off, or manipulation to just be big and scary and scare it off. I'm good with either.
Go with close combat for maximum persuasion.
All right.
Maximum.
That's persuasion. 2 successes. And so your close combat stunts will be: you can inflict 1 more point of damage. You can outmaneuver your enemy and trade initiative scores. You're not really an initiative, but you can knock or pull a weapon or other object from the opponent. Your opponent is knocked to the ground. You can hold your opponent in a grapple. I could also say, if you want to spend it, we can just treat it as an intimidation.
How about instead of grapple, this is more of, I didn't turn the thing on, but I'm using it as a bludgeon, and Skitters McJowls gets punted like a good 10 feet.
Okay. Yeah. So you strike it with the unlit torch, and there is this hissing yelp, the kind of sound that a dog makes when it's surprised and startled, and its wings extend and it hisses this sound as it skirts back, and it just promptly 180s and just yipes its way down the corridor away from you again.
Aw.
Control, I need security, please.
uh, there's a moment, and it says, "All right." Two security had been left behind from the mission. I can get you in touch with them. Do you want them to meet you at the hangar?
Just have them come in and. Do they have stun batons?
Yes.
Good. Have them bring all of them.
Copy that. Yeah. And so after a moment to breathe a sigh of relief that this creature had no intention of laying eggs inside of Bob, you can continue in the direction that you know the hangar would be. And you see that just like the other rate that you had entered through, the access to the hangar is not set on screws, but it looks like it had just been set in place and flushed so that nobody would notice that something was amiss. And it doesn't take a keen eye to know that this isn't something that a Skitter's McJowl would be able to manipulate.
Unless.
Unless.
I'm going to go and like push this open, and I'm just going to take a gander, like from the vent, like are the screws anywhere nearby, or are they just gone?
These screws they would be nearby, and it looks like somebody had taken like the painter's tape or whatever and just kind of plastered them up on the interior. So it looks like if they needed to pop it back in to make it look like they hadn't snuck through, they could on a pinch. But it looks like somebody had been manipulating these vents and accessing them.
Okay. I'm going to descend from the vent, put the vent back in place like I found it, and then I will put my head on the swivel for the creature while I wait for security.
Yeah. The hangar currently is not occupied. Nobody's in here now, as the two registered pilots had gone out on mission, and there are no engineers working on any of the remaining vehicles. There are two regular sized Weyland-Yutani issued trucks, a couple of construction vehicles, and then a space for a VTOL type aircraft, which is what the security force and the rest of the players had left on. But amongst the boxes and supplies and a small workshop area, there's no signs of this creature. It doesn't look like it had left the vent. It might have just retreated deeper in another direction. But after a while, the doors from the outside of the hangar open, and two security officers enter, each of them holding a stun baton in hand, and then one carrying a bag with another like 4 stun batons. And they identify themselves as Security Officer Scarlet and Security Officer Nyansi.
Oh, officers, sorry to bring you in, but there is, pardon the phrase, there's fuckery afoot. And no, there is something. It is larger than a bread box, but is smaller than an engine, skittering around in the air vents. And it did not come from, chewing its way inside. Somebody brought this in and unleashed it upon this place. It is foreign, it is clever, it is fast, and I think it tried to mate with my face. So if you would be so kind as to help me contain this foreign object that somebody within this residency, or I don't know what, brought this thing in here. Oh, also, I am fairly certain that, yeah, someone did this on purpose, because there's no claw marks, there's no scratches, there's just loose screws throughout the hab block.
Two of them look at each other and then look back to Bob and they say, well, shit, that sounds serious. Yeah, let's get to work. They hand you a stun baton, and they kind of help you go about just checking around the hangar first, and then they say we can we have access to any of the domiciles for search and seizure. If you think it's necessary, we can call it in and just start going room to room.
I call it in, and considering just how weird this thing is, if you guys got a motion tracker handy, that'd be swell.
They actually they do. They reach into the bag and they said, "Yeah, we thought that might come in handy," and so they hand you this motion tracker as well. And so they say, "Yeah, here you can take the lead, and we'll open the doors once we have clearance." And command comes back and gives the all clear. Weyland-Yutani, of course, does not need permission to look through your individual domiciles because you signed a contract that says your personal property no longer belongs to you, it belongs to the company. And so for everyone else, this kind of retroactively comes in, but there is a notification that the hab blocks have been put on a minimal security alert, and domicile searches have begun. And so for each of you, there's just this moment of, oh shit, do I have contraband, that runs through your mind? And then you realize that only Juniper and Sarah live on Hab Block C, so Rosalinda is fine because they don't have an apartment yet. But if either of you have anything that would be worrisome, there's a chance that they might find it. But for now, Bob and these two security officers start making their way through, and there is just this quick sweep mentality. The security officers aren't really interested in going through any of the property unless it's blatantly out in the open. But as you're checking with these motion trackers, and I'm going to actually pull up the motion tracker and see what it says. Oh, wow. The Mother 9000 is so expensive. It's like 50 million credits. I just saw that on here. Anyways. Ooh, magnetic tape. Motion tracker. Personal data transmitter, transponder, PDAT. Oh boy, I wish the equipment was easier to navigate. Anyways, you have it, and so why don't you just give me a CommTech roll, and we'll use it for the entire time spent to sweep through the area.
There we go. This thing's evasive.
Yeah. As you're going through, it's been about an hour. You've gone through about 10 of these units with no signs of this creature or anybody having unregistered pets. And pets are considered a luxury for a colony because it means it's one extra mouth to feed that doesn't contribute. It's a drain on your water and, all those other necessities. So not many people have pets registered to them. But when you get to what would be Juniper's apartment, you've stopped outside of it because we all know that Juniper remote controls a synth, and they are of course jacked in somewhere else. When they approach this door, they do see that there is a registration for a pet within this domicile, but it also has a note that it says enter at your own risk. And there is a knock before entry because there are protocols in place for the doctor that just not anyone can enter without proper precautions. And so the two of them look at the information, they look to Bob, and they say, this is a special case. The doctor usually doesn't leave the domicile, and they, unless it's life threatening, they have permission to not leave. Did you want to still check this room?
Officers, I'll put it to you this way. Either we check the room, or you explain to the executive that you left a room unchecked.
Fair point. Officer Scarlet is the one who loses the quick rock, paper, scissors and walks up and knocks on Juniper's door. Meanwhile, we cut to mid-flight where everybody's sitting in the passenger cargo pod, and Juniper, what is the synth's reaction to being aware that somebody is knocking on the door to the apartment?
I probably just get like an alert on my Apple Watch.
Wayland Yutani Apple Watch.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like looking at it like deny entry. And I can wait until I get back. Like, what is this?
Okay. And just for the sake of brevity, is the real Juniper in the same apartment, or do they have a separate location?
They're in the same apartment. They're just underneath one of the floorboards in a tank. That's where they kind of just live.
Gotcha. Yeah. By the way, Paul, Mitch has a very special circumstance for their character. They have a synth that they remote control because they're basically doing a Dr. House, and I was all for it when they pitched the idea. Because when something bad happens, they're stuck in a tank. They get to die horribly, or become infected. Yeah, there is no escape for someone like Juniper. And so there is a notification that appears on Bob's data pad and the two security officers that there is just a message that says access denied. Okay. So please give me a roll. It is a heavy machinery roll to pry this bitch open.
Not my bitch.
Yeah. The door immediately yields to the delicate touch of a of a roughneck's opening tool. Wow, that doesn't make it sound any better.
Yeah.
and so the door is busted open. And Mitch, I'll turn it over to you to describe what the apartment looks like for Bob.
Yeah, it's pretty bare bones. Other than a lovely kitchen, with kind of preparations for sushi. Yeah. Other than that, there is a desk, with a terminal, and several pictures, depicting, probably some art pieces from the Smithsonian a long, long time ago.
Yeah, and so you see that there is this very Spartan domicile. There's not too much here, but even though there's registration for a pet, there's no signs that an animal lives here. Just further deepens the mystery. You're muted, I think.
Yeah, humming a few bars of "We Built the City," takes the motion tracker, puts it in, sees if there's like any movement. I'm guessing there isn't.
Well, why don't you give me another comm roll?
Comtech?
Let's see if there's any movement. Yeah.
Nope.
No. Okay. Uh, you don't detect anything underneath the floor for sure. But as you do just a quick check around with the security force entering as well, they're kind of on alert now that one, they've been told that they couldn't enter, and two, there's a registered pet here with no information. Excuse me. They start looking around, and the security officer, Neon C, instinctively goes to check the vent, and they see that the vent is closed, but it looks like there was some tampering with it as well. And they say, huh, looks like the vent had been opened recently.
I haven't been through here.
And they just kind of go, interesting. And they make a few notes, and they say, this could be where our friend has come from if there's no signs of any pet here.
Who lets their pet crawl through the vents of a hab block?
They the two of them look at each other again, and they say, when was the last time you had a visit with Dr. Juniper?
Oh, I don't qualify for any medical visits.
They both laugh and they say, good, you're lucky.
Just so or not, they seem a little unhinged.
Scarlet kind of looks around as if Juniper could appear at any moment, and when they see that it's safe, they say, unhinged is putting it lightly.
Okay, so they're a doctor that y'all have to see and they're not right in the head?
Psychiatrist.
Oh, quack.
Quite.
Okay, well, let's get out of this duck's room and try and find this beast. If we can't, we can just chalk it up to them letting it loose in the hab block, and the exec can take care of it.
Yeah, perfect. And I think that the shot that we see here is as they're talking about Juniper, the camera kind of has that like slightly split. And so we see that the containment tank where Juniper is directly underneath where they are standing. And of course,
Mhm.
Juniper has surveillance of their domicile, so they're probably watching and listening to everything that's happening, and they're just directly underneath, aware of everything that was said, and so they're just
It's
like,
like,
yeah, the faster we can get out of this place, the better I'll feel.
Yeah, no,
Make
just let me do one quick thing. And goes over red crayon, opens the vent up, does a quick little X mark.
Mhm.
If we have to track it later, I can use this as an origin point.
Good thinking.
And puts the screws back in. That way it doesn't backtrack, and if it does, well, it does, and the quack will have to undo the screws. At
Mhm.
least inconvenience that we can give them for causing us to like waste our day. And then heads out, undoes the jack, everything closes.
Yeah. And so, Juniper, there's another notification that your proximity alarm has cleared any movement in the upstairs apartment. And there is also a quick notification that decontamination will begin. And there's just this quick cleaning cycle that goes through the area to make it sterile again. Um, and so, Bob, with the two security officers, um, give me one final observation roll. Okay. Um, as you're finishing up through the Hab block, you come across one final spot where you see that there are loose grates, and there's this brief moment where you feel like something is watching you.
At that moment, Bob stands incredibly still. And just with the eyes, tries to get the attention of one of the security officers and just does that and then looks slowly down at the vent.
Hmm. The officer meets your gaze, and there's this moment where they reach down and they quickly unbuckle the little holster for the stun baton, and they say, I don't think there's anything else in this area, Bob. We should probably wrap up and head back.
Yeah, we'll make it the executive's problem. They can deal with it through paperwork. We're not going to track it down.
And there's a quick nod between the two security officers, and one of them quickly reaches down, pulls the grate from it, and there's a startled yelp as you see that there is a small teenager, looks a little malnourished, that was inside of the vent, and they quickly reach to try and grab at this individual. They had expected a dog, and there's this brief hesitation when they see them. But I'm going to make a quick roll to see if they can snatch this person up. D6s. Oh, 2 successes. Look at me. So they're gonna get a quick grapple, and so there's this brief struggle as Scarlet gets their hands around this person, and they drag them out, and they're in very baggy, nondescript clothes as they're pulled, kicking and screaming, and the person is just like, "Let me go, you fucker! Stop! Get your hands off of me!" And they drag them out, and they've got them just restrained, and they say, calm down, kid. What the hell are you doing in the vents? And they say, it's none of your business. Don't worry about that. Let me go. And they say, oh no, you're in a lot of trouble. Don't you know there's some kind of fucking monster in there? And they're like, Wayland Yutani are the monsters, and The other one just says, "Ooh, that's not the right answer." And there's a quick stun baton that's brought up and pressed up against their stomach, and they just and they go down like a sack of potatoes.
There's
You
no guys. While this is very interesting, I can tell you I checked the perimeter. There was nothing that showed that anything got in except through the hangar. That's the only place that's been open. If this kid came through, it was through the hangar.
yeah, they've been hiding out in the hangar or somewhere around it.
I want to take a look at the kid. Do I recognize him? There's only 200 people. You can remember 200 people.
There's only 200 people. Yeah, it's true. And not only that, but I feel like Bob is one of those people who's keenly aware of who's who. And as you're looking this person over, I don't need a roll because you've never seen this kid before. Their clothes aren't. Sorry?
Officers. I'm not one to cause a fuss. I know Utani likes to do some stuff off the books, but he's not registered here. And pirates usually don't take kids. So where did he come from?
And they kind of look the kid over and they see that they aren't wearing Weyland-Yutani issued colonist uniforms or anything that designates them. And as they check, they roll them over, and what you see is there's a barcode on the back of their neck. And even Bob would know that usually it's prison colonies that will barcode and tag prisoners. And they say, "The hell? We don't have inmates here on the colony.
Give me a quick second.
We need to
control
here."
Hate to do this, but we have a situation in Hat Block C. You need to let the exec know.
Copy that. And I think this is where the two say, "We're going to take them back for the marshal. They're the most qualified person to deal with this. They're going to be in detainment for now because one, they've been crawling around in the vents, and two, they're not a citizen or a colonist. So good work in finding this, and we at least have an idea of what else is in the vents. So we'll get to work on setting up something to flush that out."
Thanks. But just on the safe side, considering, I know scientists are working on this lovely place we call home. Considering we have no idea where that kid came from, once you drop him off with the marshals, hit decon.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You do the same, okay? We don't, especially since you had to run with that thing.
Thank you, officers. Have a great day.
You too. And the other officer, kind of fireman, carries this young kid over their shoulder, and Scarlet just gives you a quick salute, and the two of them head off, leaving Bob. And as that happens, we kind of fast forward now, Bob heading to decontamination as the VTOL is flying back in towards the security, or not the security, but towards the airship hangar. And as it happens, Gerald, Juniper, and Sarah, no offense, Rosalinda, because you're new to the colony proper, but as the two higher ranking officials, and of course the pilot who needs to know that their hangar was compromised. There are notifications of security alerts that a breach had happened within the hangar and that an unknown individual had been detained. There is caution advised for the landing approach, and as you are getting closer to make the landing, Marshal Bravestar kind of enters the cockpit and he says, "Did you get the notification as well?"
Yes, we did. They've been detained. It should be fine. I don't want to fly this thing around too much. It's still damaged.
It's all right. Bring it in, but I'm gonna go check out what happened, and if you guys could make sure that those who need medical attention are seen to and taken off carefully, I'll exit right away. The security teams who are still fit and able can stay in the hangar as well.
We can help with that, sure.
Excellent. Give me one final piloting roll to land this baby, and hopefully it's a smooth landing and not a crash landing. There it is.
Hey.
It's only taken 5 episodes for this to not happen without a push roll. It's great. Awesome. Yeah. And so it's still in one piece, albeit a little banged up, but you are able to get the VTOL back in. And with your co-pilot helping, the two of you navigate it in and come down for a very gentle touchdown. The hangar or the back hatch doors descend, giving Rosalinda and Juniper a chance to disembark with the rest of the security force. Gerald helps carry down some of the injured officers where a medical team is waiting to look them over. Bob, after your decontamination, did you head back to the hangar for any reason?
Yeah, just to secure that vent.
Okay. Yeah. As everybody's disembarking from the ship, this is the first chance for you all to see, or maybe the first chance for you all to recognize, now that he's no longer a backdrop individual, but an actual existing player in this event. Yeah, an actual person with hopes and dreams. You, for the first time, are aware of Bob, the handyman, who is currently sealing up or properly securing this vent access. Sarah, you know that this is the vent that you had a run-in with the said stowaway not too long ago. And, you know, it's not hard to put 2 and 2 together that it's most likely that they have been caught. Bravestar thanks all of you again for what you were able to do before he departs.
Yeah.
If I don't have anywhere else I'm supposed to be, you said the med team's checking the security team over here in the hangar?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll just kind of hang around where they're checking.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just kind of hang around and just do stuff with the ship until he's free and cleared.
Okay. You want to give me a roll to do some repair work then? It'll be a heavy machinery. You're good at that.
So good.
It worked last time. It's okay.
Oops.
Okay.
I'm just kind of fiddling, just wait. I don't want to say wasting time because I know the company has issues with that terminology, but
yeah,
I look like I'm working.
Juniper has a keen eye for
something
catching.
Go wrong?
No, but you definitely pick up on that they're mostly just doing surface level checks and trying to appear busy. And it may even be a little obvious that Sarah is watching your work as well while doing it. And so there's this moment. And since we didn't do it earlier, why don't you describe what Bob actually looks like for our 3 players now that they're getting to see him?
Yeah.
And everybody else can also have a chance to describe themselves.
Yeah, this is very easy, folks. I want you to open up your browsers, head over to Google, enter the name Bob Hoskins. Him quite young.
Oh, perfect.
And in a Hawaiian shirt, bandana, big tool belt, Wayland Yutani like slacks, gray, and like, gray Converse sneakers.
Important question now to define which way this vision is going. Who Framed Roger Rabbit or Shmee?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Okay, so nice and clean shaven. Okay. There's a great picture of him without a shirt on and just a tie, and I'm like, there's Bob.
Yeah, there's Bob.
Well, hello, Bob.
And yeah, no, he notices this. Just go, yeah, you need a hand? Just hollers out across the way.
Oh, if you know anything about fixing ships like this, sure. We took a few hits while we were out there.
Oh yeah, no. As like secure the vent, secure tool, hop down. Yeah, no. In order to qualify for this job, you have to know a bit about everything.
Bob, for all intensive purposes, you see that this VTOL does have some significant damage. It looks like it had suffered small arms fire, and the right thruster vent, or not vent, but engine had taken a direct hit from an RPG, and it, for all intents and purposes, looks like it is being held on with duct tape. A lot of duct tape.
Well, that ain't pretty, but it works when you get you guys some proper speed tape as opposed to using duct.
That's all we had in the field.
Yeah, I get it, but you should be carrying at least 2 rolls of speed. But again, Wayland Yutani likes to cut corners, and speed tape comes in, thousands of credits for a roll.
That's the one. That's the Bob.
Don't know if they've requisitioned all the spare parts for combat service, especially for out here, but I can see about getting some scrap, shaping it, and we can try and, actually weld a solution on as opposed to praying for one.
We'd appreciate it. This is our this is our only feasible vehicle that we have here. It's this or the trucks. So if you can keep us in the air, I'd really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. It's just a matter of procuring the right materials. And with that, I'd like to hear what Sarah looks like.
Yeah, Sarah. Sorry, I just switched over to Roll20. That picture's still up. Was not expecting it. Yeah, Sarah is in her late 20s. She's 5'9", fairly athletic build, black hair bobbed and straight at chin length. Just in a flight suit. If you've seen her around before, she's usually either in her flight suit or in just a tank top and some comfortable pants. She doesn't dress up a lot.
Alrighty. But yeah, no. Since there is more than likely going to be a security question, and there's still the creature about. I don't think I'm going to be let off this hab block for the rest of the day, so I might as well spend it working on this.
A creature.
Yeah, real ugly son of a bitch.
I've seen quite a few ugly ones in the last few days. What did this one look like?
Well, looked like if, the ugliest dog you've ever seen had sex with every single insect attributed to old Australia.
I think there's probably a look of just a very brief look of recognition on Sarah's face. Oh, what happened with it?
Well, it's loose in the vents, came for my face, and managed to boop it. Ran off, but security and I couldn't catch it. Going theory
Oh,
is that
that's too
the
bad.
the doc is keeping some sort of strange exotic pet, and they decided on who knows what recognizance to just let it loose in the vents. We let the exec know.
Juniper is an interesting person.
People with
Bob, you
authority usually are interesting. So,
Meanwhile, we see Juniper standing not too far from this discussion. Juniper, what do you look like for the camera and for Bob?
Oh yeah, Juniper looks like a stock footage human being with curly hair, um, and the eyes are kind of a pale white, so it's obvious he's a synth of some sort. Yeah, he's just he's currently um, I'm just staring at Bob. Yeah, staring.
quick question, since it's an obvious synth, can I identify the model?
Probably. I don't know what model it is. It was custom made. Yeah, one of the newer ones
Oh,
probably.
Yeah, probably a newer model, custom job.
well, if it's custom, that means it's not from the standard corpse. That's not a Hyperdyne model. So it'll
Yeah.
have to be something. Maybe Seekson occasionally does custom, but usually not that good. So you're looking at
And
private,
is
really, really private
is
synths custom.
is Bob a known synth, or is he passing as
Not
human?
not known unless you know the LMS series of models that Hyperdyne puts out.
Okay. Which I'm going to assume most people don't. So, yeah, you just have this obvious custom job staring at you as you're talking with Sarah, Bob.
Just gives a look over and looks back to Sarah. Ah, I didn't put a face to the name. Now I have. Leans in. Those custom jobs tend to be a bit twitchy. And
Oh, okay.
leans back.
So, while this is happening, a dark-skinned woman with, like her hair's in a messy curly, is with her arms and she's got a lab coat that's like slipping off as she's walking. There's a sweater that's probably fall and probably a couple other things fall. apologizing and grab.
Just gentle wave in their direction. Well, glad you're all
Right.
here in one piece.
It was dicey for a bit.
Except for Olive. Let's talk about the plant that Juniper threw out like a while ago. Poor Olive is gone.
Poor Olive, they will be missed.
When I woke up this morning, I was not expecting pirates.
I don't think anybody expects pirates. Unless, you're...
Well, if you'll excuse me, I have some reports to do, some drugs to administer. Bob, hey, how you doing?
Hey, Doc.
Hey,
You might wanna
let's
have
get
a
an
meeting with the
appointment
exec.
in. I'm
Sorry,
I'm
Doc.
fine.
I don't qualify to meet with you.
I'll put in a notice that I will make a special instance for us to have a meeting.
You're going to have to get that cleared by the exec in engineering.
That's
Have
fine.
fun, Doc. Oh,
I'll
and by the
send a
way,
quick email to exec of engineering.
you might want to hit that charging station a bit longer. You seem to be not 100%.
I'm 100%. I've gotten enough sleep. I'm doing quite well.
Synths don't sleep.
Are you tired?
I'm wide awake.
Good. No. There's a lot of questions and such going on here.
Yeah, like security breach, containment breaches, registered but
Did you handle
not
it?
described pets. Oh, security's been a banger. However, just be certain that you're not leaving any of your vents unsecured. There seemed to have been a problem in your apartment. I don't know who in their right mind would, unscrew vents, mess with Utani property, but someone did in your apartment. And now
No, I
that
did it.
pet,
I let my pet wander around.
so you broke containment.
It's not against containment.
Yes, it is. It's supposed to be secured in your apartment, not running through the hab block. All pets have a possibility of turning violent. Also, there is
Oh,
possible
this
allergy
one's certainly
containment.
violent. Oh, certainly.
Okay, on that note, thanks very much. I have to go someplace. And he walks with
Have a good
purpose.
day, Bob. Does anyone want sushi?
I love the friction between players in this game. It's so good.
As
Yeah,
Juniper
sushi
asked that,
sounds- Sorry.
Juniper asked that, I see Isa finishing up like, oh, I have plans. Thank you though. I'll take you up on it another time. I'll quickly walk off.
Hey, I'll take the sushi.
Excellent. Awesome. And I'll also send an invite to the father guy that we need to administer the items to.
Yeah.
Like, come over for sushi.
When you send the invite request, there is an immediate response from it, where it's like the yes, no, maybe. There's an immediate no.
Oh, I messaged. It wasn't a request. Sorry, that should have been more specific. Come to my office at this hour.
And there is probably a response that comes a few minutes later, and it just all it says is sure.
It's a good day.
Free sushi is always a good day.
Free sushi is always
Yeah.
a good day. Sarah, did you want free sushi?
No, I
Yeah,
not if it
Sarah's
comes attached
leaving
to
us.
Juniper. I left. Whether I had plans or not, I'm leaving. But I do need to check in on Isa, make sure she's okay.
Yeah.
Probably hang out with her to.
She should
I
come
don't-
for sushi too.
She went through a lot today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a nice
So
glute meal.
Building exercise.
Sarah, as you exit, you give a quick nod to Richard, who is still kind of doing what he can to get the ship situated. He gives you just a quick wink and a nod, like, "Hey, good job out there today. We didn't die or crash. That's always a good thing." For Bob's sake, Richard is Sarah's co-pilot. He has the Magnum PI mustache, and he likes to wear aviator sunglasses. And I think I had also introduced him with a Hawaiian shirt, but I don't think he's wearing
Absolutely.
one today. Yeah, today it's more of the. I'm gonna change up his appearance a little bit so that we don't have two Hawaiian shirted bros.
No, there needs to be multiple Hawaiian shirts. It's pretty much the tech people's
You're muted,
uniform.
Pope.
It's fine. We're color coded. There's the blue one.
Yeah, color coded.
There's the
Um,
orange one, and then somewhere else on the colony, there's the red one.
Yeah.
Richard is always wearing one in my head, so say what you will.
Yeah. Okay. Then he does in fact have a Hawaiian shirt. Then
Yeah.
I was gonna give him Baloo's tailspin shirt and jacket, but we'll go ahead and keep the Hawaiian shirt theme going.
No, I like the Hawaiian shirt and the bomber jacket with the aviators. That's just
There we go. Perfect. Yeah, and even that is a nice throwback to the old original Alien, because the technician had the Hawaiian shirt and the jacket. Which, by the way, I was trying to get that for a costume for this show, but it is really expensive to get a replica of that outfit. It is not cheap, and they do not make it very quickly. It was a couple $100s for a Hawaiian shirt and a jacket. It was
a Hawaiian shirt should never cost more than $5.
Oh no! It was the custom made Nostromo jacket that they wanted to charge you a lot for, because it was a bomber jacket and it has all the patches and blah blah blah. It was not a cheap endeavor, and I was like, as great as that would be, hard pass.
Disney got to get theirs.
Yeah, they gotta get their money. So Sarah, you see that Issa is getting patched up by one of the medics, and when she notices you, she smiles and says, "Hey, I should be clear to go here in just a moment. Also, these pain pills are amazing." And they have an arm in a sling. It looks like they, had taken some minor injuries, and the medic is just like, she's going to be fine. She just has to take it easy for a little while.
Yeah, why don't we, once you're done, we'll get you back to your room. We can sit and talk or decompress, whatever you want to do.
Certainly. And then Gerald can yell at me for using too much water this time, not you. Wait, no, it was me last time, wasn't it? It doesn't matter. It's fine.
Yeah, sorry. We can go back to my place too if you want.
No, it's perfectly all right. I'm not afraid of Gerald. I have a stun baton.
Let's keep that holstered till you're off the pain pills, okay?
Fine. And so the medic is just like, I'm going to pretend like I didn't hear her threaten the exec's husband. And she's just like, yeah, just she could take 2 more of these in a couple hours, and then she should be good to go.
I'll make sure she does that.
And so Issa puts an arm around you, and you help them up, and you head back to retire. Is there anything else you want to do before I pop over to the sushi?
No, just getting her back and comfortable, and I guess I'll stay the night with her.
Yeah.
Just make sure
And
everything's fine.
yep. And so the two of you have a nice, relaxing evening. It's enough to clear your stress out completely. Whether anything happens or not is up in the air and left ambiguous, but it is a further blossoming of this relationship that will definitely not end in tragedy, as all alien scenarios have.
Definitely
For
not.
now,
They'll get there happily
for,
ever after. It's fine.
yeah,
Happy
for
thoughts.
now
Yeah.
things are great and wonderful, and there's nothing to worry about because it's beautiful and romantic. Um, and so we fade away from Sarah tonight to over to Juniper, who is now preparing sushi, and Rosalinda standing outside of the apartment.
Sushi night. Yeah,
I was,
well, I'm just. Go ahead.
No, I was at point to like just let you know I'm there.
Yeah.
Waiting for you.
Knock, knock.
Yeah, Juniper's very happy. He's got the door open. He's just waiting for the other person as well. He has a few glasses of wine, and he's currently like splicing open a eel.
So unagi, good choice.
Rosalind just brought Juniper a plant
Mhm.
and just like
What does
popped
the
it on the
plant look
table.
like?
It is like a little succulent, but it's in a pot that's way too big for it.
Room to grow.
Yeah. She just sets it down and sits down like she lives there.
Oh, okay. This is nice. I remember what we talked about, and yes, this is nice. I absolutely adore plants.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything to it. Just it's really hard to kill.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, it's like,
If you do kill it,
Okay.
you're killing a part of my soul.
There is no such thing as a soul.
Well, this plant has part of my soul in it.
Okay. All right. Let's
Juniper knows I'm like Juniper probably figured out that Rosalind is kind of messing with him.
Yeah.
Messing with him.
Let's feed the little one something. I'm sure it's hungry, and he'll go to the vent and God.
You
He'll
see
take
that the
some
screws
blood
are back in
from.
place.
Yeah, he'll unscrew it and yeah, he'll get some blood from his drawer and just kind of in a little bowl, nice little bowl, like a little milk bowl. Some blood in
Rosalinda,
there.
first thing you notice is that the doctor keeps blood in a drawer. Second, that it is now feeding the hybrid monstrosity that you all had brought back from the science lab fresh blood. Whose blood is it?
So,
Anyone's guess.
It's just
well,
messy,
I mean, that's at least it's eating.
Yeah. I mean, everyone has needs, and we can't judge something just because its needs are different than our own.
Just make sure you continue to feed it. You don't want it to go a little too hungry. It might go after the
Of course, not unless there might be some scientific advantage to figuring out the predatorial capacities of this particular creature.
Probably, but
I
I
don't
bought
think.
this.
Yeah, I don't know if Waylon would be interested in that. Who knows?
Will they pay you extra for it?
I don't know. I hope so one day. I'd like another synth. This one,
What, two of you?
yeah. At the same time, that'd be impossible for me to do, but I'd like an option. Like wearing a different shirt.
So you wouldn't have them
Explore a
both
little bit
running
of.
around.
No, I would not have them both running around. That'd be
Okay.
too hard for me to
Got it.
control.
Unless you like
Infinitely
make a synth
impossible for me.
army of yourself. You ever think about that? Just maybe let them loose.
Let
Put 'em in
them
corporate offices.
loose.
Corporate offices so they can all experience you. I think it would be a nice gift.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, something to think about.
Is. Any case, and he'll continue to slice the sushi, and we have one individual coming. I forget his name, but they just lost someone important to them, so kind of be a little sensitive, but don't avoid the concept of death because I feel like they need to become accustomed to it.
Why not?
Yeah, and we'll wait for our buddy.
Yeah. And the two of you find yourselves waiting 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Juniper, they are late.
Oh my god! Oh, I'm getting so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going. Rosalinda, do you mind? Yeah, we're going. We're going over there.
Oh, you're going to head to them. You're not going to send them a reminder or anything first?
No, people. I don't send reminders. Either you're late. No, either you're on time or you're fucked.
Okay. So when you tell Rosalinda that you two are heading over there, give me a quick decision. Who's the one to open the door first?
It's not my
Probably
door.
me. Yeah.
Probably you.
Yeah.
When you open the door, Juniper, you see that the individual that you had invited is standing there. They look tired. There are dark circles under their eyes and signs that they had been crying. And they look at you. You both notice that they're shaking and they're holding something in their hand. And they say, "Well, I'm already late, so I guess I shouldn't be worried about reprimands or termination for what's about to happen." And they lift up a cobbled together gun that, for all intents and purposes, is a bolt gun. Uh, and they point it directly at Juniper's chest and they pull the trigger. And I'm going to have them roll to shoot Juniper. With this improvised weapon. And
My immaculate chest.
Thankfully for Juniper, they do not have ranged combat, so there's a very good chance that they might miss. Yeah, there's a very good chance that they might miss. And so when they bring the gun to bear, there is the quick sound of gunfire that fills the hall. And this large, probably about this large bolt nail, usually what's there to build the hab blocks or repair spaceship hulls, is fired in the direction of Juniper, but their shaky hands makes the aim not very good. And thankfully they didn't do the nail spray of shrapnel that could be done with this one. Instead, they just fired a single shot. And so it fires and it probably hits something behind you, a console or something important, but it misses Juniper narrowly.
Doesn't get
And they,
Rosalinda, right?
um, I mean, do you want to put yourself in harm's way? I mean, I can run the risk of hitting you too.
Why not?
All right, I'm just gonna roll 1 to see if it hits you. No, you're good. You happen to be standing on the other side. Dramatic music. Um, and so this gunshot goes off, and it's a synth, so there may not even be a reflexive shock of this shot going off. But when you look down, there's no puncture through your chest. It had missed. It hit something behind you, and their hands are shaking, and they say, "How can you just tell me to accept that they died, that I have to work for this fucking company?" And they drop to their knees and they drop the gun and they just break down, and an alarm goes off as somebody else in the hab block has alerted security. So somebody's going to be coming, but there's a couple seconds for the two of you to figure out what the hell just happened. But somebody just tried to kill Juniper.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I don't like any attempts on my life. My life isn't great, but it's mine. So as he's down there, I'm gonna bring my knee up into his nose.
Yeah, give me a melee, please.
Got it.
So is that compassion?
One, huh?
Sorry.
Is that compassion?
Yeah, that's the compassion. That's 1 success.
Yeah, 1 success.
All right. And so you bring this knee up and it connects with their face, and let's see. They got about 2 health, so a basic melee strike is. I love the way they sort this stuff. Close combat weapon. I'm fairly sure you just do 1 point of damage.
Yeah,
It's just your
I think
basic
so. Yeah.
punch. They don't have any armor, so there's no reduction because they're just a person working. So when you strike them, you hit them hard, and they stumble back, and there's clear signs that you broke their nose, and there's just a little torrent of blood. And they just say, "You're a fucking monster. You're the worst. You're not even human."
Yeah, but you don't kill somebody because of that.
And they look
Knee
at
to the nose
Rosalinda.
again.
they look at Rosalinda and they start to say something. Give me another close combat.
Yeah, 3 successes. So I'm going to use the other ones for additional damage.
Yeah. So they only have 2 health. So when you say additional damage, are you going overboard, or are you
Yeah.
just knocking them out?
No, I'm trying to crush his skull.
Okay.
Just yeah.
So what we end up seeing then is Rosalinda, you just say that's no excuse to kill somebody, and then Juniper strikes them again, and then again, and again. And as this person is laying on the floor, they cough and sputter, and Juniper continues to bring down their foot on top of this person's face. And then as the security force is coming down the hall, you hear this soft crunch as Juniper brings down their foot fully onto their face, and the person is killed. two
He'll-
security officers arrive, and they're holding their stun batons, and they look to Juniper. They look to the body.
a little
And
late there.
there's a moment where they consider, and just out of precaution, there's a soft thrum to the stun batons being turned on, and they say, "You're still going to have to come with us."
Fine. Rose, go ahead and enjoy the sushi. And make sure Skitter is well fed. I'll be back not too much longer.
Okay, but just so y'all know, it was self-defense. That guy came at us with a gun and tried to shoot us, but his aim was terrible.
They see that there's a gun, and they also see that there is a person who just had their head stomped in. And they nod and they say, "Yeah, there's a point, though, where self-defense becomes manslaughter." And they gesture for Juniper to follow them. One of them
We'll follow.
gets in on the radio, and they call Bob, and they say, "We need a cleanup down in Hab Block C."
What kind of cleanup? That determines what sort of materials I have to bring.
Get the sawdust, the bleach, body bag, and they give you the address, and the address is outside of Juniper's apartment.
Great. Just great. Yeah, security copy on my way.
Yeah. And I think that's a good place to wrap up tonight. Since PH is missing, we won't go too much farther, but it does set up some wonderful drama, a good exposure for Pope to see just how fucked up this paradise is on the inside.
Yeah,
great job,
it's all
everybody.
right.
Great job, everybody. What a great game today. Thank you, everybody who was watching, everybody who was talking in chat. Thank you, of course, to our wonderful sponsors, Free League, Odiphius, Green Ronin, of course, the wonderful Grinding Coffee Co. I have another full one. I just had a French press sitting here, and I've just been topping it off as we go.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's helped. I don't feel nearly as tired as I did when I started. It was some really good coffee.
I just need like
Mexican chocolate.
grinding. I need like a grinding coffee hat so that you can have French presses on either side that you squeeze down into your mouth.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Oh,
I know,
yeah.
right?
So
Everyone
what
wins.
flavors do you have so that I can try it?
The ones I have that I ordered, I don't know if they still have the gay agenda on there, because that was a
Yeah,
promotional one.
The Mexican
but
chocolate one is really good.
I always pitch the bourbon one because that one is just so good.
Yeah, that's with the brown
so-
sugar, right?
Mm-hmm. Bourbon Delight.
Oh God, yes.
I'm going to write that
It's so
down
good.
and, like, get it.
Yeah. Bourbon Delight is the one I have, Mexican chocolate, and then I also had ordered the gay agenda, as I said. I have been told Turtle Dreams is also really good.
That is really good. Yes, I can attest to it. It's really good.
Yeah. Turtle Dream is chocolate, caramel, and pecans. Oof. So good.
Oh my god! The next time we play, I'm gonna have so much coffee in my system. I'm just gonna be like up and down the whole time.
Good, go for it.
Excellent.
It is
Do
the
it.
best. And of course, you can use the penny for a tail. It's just penny for a tail, so you can get a certain percentage off.
Perfect.
Yep. And yeah, just follow the link because they have a lot of really good ones. I just saw one pop up that I want to try now. The A Day. It's berry, honey, and chocolate. That sounds amazing too. Because like blueberry
I
coffee,
had that.
Blueberry coffee is great. Is it good?
Yeah, it's really like I haven't found one that I didn't like. I guess I tried their normal like French vanilla coffee, and I was like, this isn't as like I need the gay agenda-esque type coffee.
Yeah, that one had a really good flavor
I
to
hope
it.
that's still available. I want to try it.
Yeah,
I'm not seeing it on. Actually, I lied. It's here. It is still here.
there we
so
go.
Gay agenda is caramel, honey, and fruits, and fruits is left ambiguous. I don't know. It doesn't say what kind of fruits it is, but it does have a great taste. Anyways, let's go back around and do our outros. So starting with ArchivalDustBun, and then we'll just go around again.
Yeah, that's me. I am Anna, aka ArchivalDustBun, most places on the internet. And I played Sarah tonight. I'm a queer and trans advocate, museum worker, and TTRPG streamer. If any of that sounds interesting, you find me on Twitter at ArchivalDustBun. I stream a lot of places. Tuesday night, you can find me on Blackfeather Guild playing Dragon Age at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's a 2-party campaign on Tuesdays and Fridays that will eventually, hopefully, meet up. Sundays, you can find me either on Gona_Hawking, playing D&D in a world of 1930s technology, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. That's been a ton of fun. They have been completely wrecking my character backstory-wise. Had a couple really emotional episodes, but it's a great cast. You should check it out. Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Every other Sunday, you can find me on Guild of the Phoenix playing Cyberpunk Red, where I play a medtech, severely overworked, trying to keep a party with the Death Wish alive. We'll see how that continues to go. If podcasts are more your thing,
Posted it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just saw you guys just posted the episode too.
For what I'm about to mention, if podcasts are more your thing, you can find me on Response Team Omnicron, a Lancer actual play podcast playing through the No Room for a Wallflower campaign setting. And the premiere dropped today. So you can find it now on Spotify and Apple and everywhere else you get your podcasts. If you don't know anything about Lancer or the setting or history, that's okay. We recorded a world primer as well. In 5 minutes, we recover all of the basic history you need to know about the Lancer setting to get you kind of set up for the beginning of the episode. And coming soon, Heroes of New Halcyon, which is a City of Mist actual play podcast following teenage superheroes who have grown up, moved away, and are now coming back to a city that they no longer recognize. But the best place to find out where and when I'm streaming, including the many one-shots that I do as well, is on Twitter, so give me a follow.
All right. Pope.
Hey everybody, Pope here. Popeworldbuild on Twitter, Popeworldbuild on Twitch. I lurk in all your streams. If you want to see more of this ridiculous face, you get a number of opportunities throughout the week. Coming up next Wednesday over on Follow Black Cats, we return with Spy Game Hexcrawl, where you get to see me play someone almost as despicable as Juniper. Then you can catch me Sundays back here on Weave the Tale as we get close to the conclusion of Paradise City Stories, or Mutants and Masterminds actual play. Our heroes are out of the Mad City, back home, but left with more questions and very few solutions. And if you just can't get enough of that superhuman, story, you can check me out over on Matev7's channel every other Sunday. But this Sunday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, for Mass Sunset City, Young Heroics, and yeah, we're tangling with godlike problems, so definitely tune in for that. Thank you all so much for watching wherever you are, whether it's live, VOD, YouTube. A story is nothing without its audience, so you're as much part of this as we are. Thank you all so much, and have a fantastic evening.
All right. Over to Mitch.
You can find me at Mitchsbustillos if you're interested in TTRPGs and a lot of the stuff that I create and design. We just got finished up with Chew, but pre-orders will be coming out. We are about to add in the necrobiotic t-shirts that you'll be able to pick up via the pre-order. So that's been really exciting. And other than that, you'll find me at PAX Unplugged coming up December in Philly. So say hi. That's it.
And last but never least is Jenny Potts.
Hi, Janie. I played Rosalinda, the scientist, and I like to play games a lot, just everywhere that I can. If I remember to update it, I follow my Twitter to find all my games. That's almost every day that I'm playing, and I'm really happy with that. I play like that time. Maybe like this again. I don't know.
All right. And I'm, of course, Rendis of Partywipegames. You can catch me here on Weave the Tale for this game and hopefully more in the future, or over on my own channel, Partywipegames, where we do a number of variety tabletop RPGs, such as tomorrow we will be doing Vampire the Masquerade, where we are playing a Sabbat campaign in Philadelphia, coincidentally. So maybe I'll have a chance to eat Mitch while he's at PAX. So
Oh
who
my.
knows? Yeah, yeah. Myla Sombra will eat him because she is merciless and has killed people already without feeling any
I'm
remorse
okay
for
with
it.
this.
Yeah. We also play Tomb of Annihilation on Wednesdays, the new adventure for 5th edition, Wilds Beyond the Witchlight on Thursdays. Friday, we do over on Valdrian's channel, Mass, an RPG that I run. There are some wonderful people there, and it's always a good time. Also, big shout out to Valdrian's channel because they hit $1,500 on their Extra Life fundraiser. So give them props there. We hit 1,337.69 during the show that Annie and I were in, and I was very proud of that because we had a wonderful duck game. And so, just again, hyping them up. We do a few other shows throughout the weekend, but those are the ones I wanted to shout out. And that's us here. So we are going to raid Swindler's Den. The wonderful Dido is over there for their long-term game called Amoris, and it is their last boss fight for the entire campaign. So go over there, give them some love, put all the positive vibes for Nat 20s because they're apparently in a very hard boss fight. Otherwise, we will see you guys next time.